Hi, this is Julie Merrill, CPA with a specialty in startup companies. Today we're going to discuss contractors versus employees and why the differentiation matters. First, let's define each. Let's look at a contractor. A contractor is someone who comes in for either a short-term period or a predefined scope of work. They typically set their own hours and maintain some flexibility on when they work. Also, they really should be running their business as a contractor where they have their contracting name or their company name, and they're truly operating in a way that they invoice you for their work performed, maybe get reimbursed for some out-of-pocket expenses, but don't fall in the path of someone who's in full-time employment. A couple other things to note about contractors is you pay them in gross, so there's no tax withholdings on the part of the company. It's like paying another vendor from an invoice. You pay them the gross amount, and 100% of the tax responsibility is on them. Also, another thing to note is that they are not eligible for company benefits. So no medical, dental, any of that, it doesn't apply to them. Now let's look at employees. Employees join with a company with an employment contract with the implication that it's for longevity, that they plan to work at the company for a long time. Now, most employment contracts are at will these days, so that if it doesn't work out, the company or the employee can end that agreement. But that said, it's more for a long-term employment, and the hours are more defined versus the scope of work. Now, when you go to pay the employee, it should be set up in a regular payroll where the employer withholds payroll taxes, covers half of Social Security, and has a benefit package that applies to all the employees. That said, you can have still part-time and full-time employees, but it's really a different kind of classification than what you're looking at for someone who's just a contractor. So why would you want to have contractors as a company? Well, there's some significant saving opportunities to having contractors versus employees. I mean, you don't have to cover all the medical and dental costs that you would, and the insurance costs that you would for an employee. So there can be some savings there. Also, with contractors, you have some reduced liability. So if the contract doesn't work out and you need to end it, you don't have ongoing liability like you would with an employee, where you maybe have to cover COBRA or some other post-employment costs that are required by law. Well, you might ask yourself, why does all this matter? Why does it matter if I classify someone as a contractor versus an employee? Well, it actually matters greatly as far as your liability exposure, that you classify people working for you correctly. Let's just say that you have someone who meets all the real descriptions and definitions of an employee, but they're working for you as a contractor. Say that things don't work out and you let them go. They can come back and say, hey, I was truly an employee. My role and my agreement was all the things that an employee should have been. I should have been compensated for overtime, workers' comp, medical and dental benefits. Well, they can come back and you would have to pay, or there's a possibility if they won, you would have to pay all that backdated to the point of their employment, plus all the payroll taxes that you avoided by having them be a contractor. And all the laws right now, especially I speak from California, are in the favor of the employee. So to limit that future exposure and liability, you really want to make sure you have your employees and contractors classified correctly. Okay, so we've covered both employees and contractors and why it's so important to classify them correctly, because really doing so incorrectly could cost you more in the long run. All right, once again, thanks for watching. I hope this video helped you in determining whether to classify your people working for you as employees or contractors. If you found it helpful, please like or subscribe below. This is Julie Merrill. Ciao for now.